It never ceases to amaze me how healing astrology can be. How you can look up at the sky and see meaning beyond pain. Wisdom written in the stars themselves. This is one of those stories. Years ago, I had to make the decision to euthanize my dog because of her aggression. It was a loss that asked me to confront something deeper than sadness. It asked me to confront the illusion of control. For a long time, I carried the belief that if I had been better, stronger, more disciplined, the outcome would have been different. I'm sharing this now not to reopen the pain, but to name something many people carry quietly in shame and don't realize needs compassion to heal. Complicated grief doesn't mean you did something wrong. It means you cared deeply in circumstances that exceeded your capacity. This lesson lives in my bones. Healing didn't come from rewriting the past. It came from rewriting the stories I believed were true. Stories born not from wisdom, but from my subconscious desire for control. Stories that felt empowering, but were never true. Healing came when I learned to hold compassion for the version of myself who was in over her head, but doing the best she could to protect what she loved. It's no coincidence that I'm sharing this as a full moon shines beside the fixed star Sirius, the brightest star in the night sky, known as the dog star. It feels deeply poetic that I was born with Chiron, the wounded healer, conjunct this very star and now illuminated by this full moon at 13 degrees Cancer. Years after my dog passed, I discovered the language of astrology and eventually took the name Stella Sage. Stella meaning star, but also honoring my dog, Stella, the love that shaped me more than I realized at the time and has been a guiding light ever since. I don't see this as proof of purpose, but as evidence of how life quietly weaves meaning long before we have language for it. But the real lesson, the one I want to leave you with, is this. Growth doesn't begin with self-punishment. It begins when we allow ourselves to be human, imperfect, learning, yet still worthy of belonging. So if you're holding a loss that never felt simple, you're not alone. But you don't have to stay in pain to prove it mattered. Compassion doesn't erase grief. Forgiveness doesn't excuse suffering. And meaning doesn't require bypassing the loss. But emotion is meant to move. And when it's allowed to, it becomes wisdom. So if this resonates, let this be your invitation to meet your life with curiosity rather than judgment. And to allow this full moon conjunct Sirius to be a quiet signal of timing, care, and gentle illumination. Because when the light is strong, what matters most is how wisely it's held.